Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Oh, it's Wednesday, December 18, 2024, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. FIFA in the Funk House. Republicans are already seeing what happens when Elon Musk is the co-president. Guess what? They've decided, he said, we should shut the government down until January 20th and then keep it shut down for 33 more days. It's not going to hurt anything. So the continuing resolution that Speaker Mike Johnson was trying to get pushed forward, that's likely not going to happen. Oh, I can't wait to break it down. Speaking of stupid, Donald Trump has picked Herschel Walker to be the ambassador to the Bahamas. Can that boy spell Bahamas? Also, the House Ethics Committee secretly voted to release its report on former Congressman Matt Gaetz. He ain't happy. Y'all, we're going to talk about that and lots more. Oh, the fun is just getting started. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Well, just in time for Christmas, Republicans are freaking out on Capitol Hill because Elon Musk, you know, the co-president-elect, came out against the continuing resolution that would fund the government for the next 3 months. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson said, hey, we need to get this done. It's a 1,500-page document. It includes a number of different things, including pay raises for a member of Congress. They could go from $174,000 to $243,000. Well, Republicans are going crazy, pushing back, saying this is not what we were sent here to do. Now, J.D. Vance, of course, who is Trump's sidekick, is weighing in as well. And House Speaker, I'm sure Hakeem of Jeffries, the Democrat minority leader, is like, don't look at me. I can't help your ass out. So this is what happens when you let the crazies in charge. Got to go to my panel right now. Julianne Malveaux, economist, president emerita of Bennett College, author out of D.C. Scott Bolden, lawyer here in D.C. Glad to have both of you here. What did I say, Julianne? I said, for the next 4 years, I'm going to be playing at every juncture Scarface's song, No Tears, because these Republicans are absolutely crazy and stupid. And I said, allow them to do what they do, and you're going to see it. Now, here's the problem. They have a very narrow majority right now. It gets even smaller in January. It's simply going to be 3 votes. And so Speaker Johnson, he may not even be elected speaker. And so the chaos is going to continue. And so, hey, if they want to let Elon Musk run the whole show, by all means, do so. It's going to mean chaos. Oh, by the way, stock market today dropped 1,100 points. You're going to see more of that with these idiots in charge.
Idiots is the right word, Roland. This is the most ridiculous times. Mike Johnson just scurry, try to get a deal. The deal that he got isn't perfect from anybody's perspective, but we have to have the $100 billion in disaster relief. Asheville, other parts of North Carolina, and other places that were hit by Helene and also Milton have not recovered and need the resources. And it's Christmas time. I mean, some of these people are still living in tents in their cars. And then we're looking at the farmers. And although, we still don't believe that black farmers are treated well, we do know that COVID and the supply chain issues have affected farmers poorly. And what Johnson did was usually those farm states or Republican states, got them and got some Democrats. And I thought we had a continuing resolution. I do not understand. Well, we know what happened. Elon Musk purchased his co-presidency. He purchased it with all the money he put into the Orange Man's campaign. So, but it's mind-boggling if you have a mind, and if you don't, it's business as usual. And they basically are doing their business as usual. But this affects the American people. If you shut the government down, who doesn't get paid? There's a question. And what percentage of those people are African American? There's another question. If you shut the government down, how do social security checks get processed? And we can just go down the list of questions that we have about what happens when government shuts down. So they don't care, though. They don't care. Elon Musk sees government as a profit center. His bond with Trump is that they both see government as a profit center. In other words, Elon Musk has billions of dollars of contracts with the United States government. He won't get his check either, but he won't miss it. So you're absolutely right. Let the sideshow begin, because it is a sideshow, unfortunately, under the big tent.
So, Scott, here's the deal. Go to my iPad. This is from Politico. Speaker Johnson weighs spending Plan B as Elon Musk stokes opposition. We're looking at a called clean funding package, and here's the deal. They would drop $100 billion in disaster aid, plus $30 billion for farmers and a one-year extension of the Farm Bill. So you know what? It's going to be a whole bunch of folks in those red states who are looking for disaster relief, can't get it now, and those farmers. And that's where, I'm sorry, they voted for his dumb ass. This is what they get. And so it's going to be a lot more of this in these red states. And so Democrats, if I'm Hakeem Jeffries, this is what I do. Don't come look at me. Go talk to them. I'm good. Nah, this is what y'all wanted. Don't come holler at me. I'm not gonna save your ass.
You voted for it, America. That means you bought it, right? Now you deal with it, right? You own it, as we say. And watch two relationships that over the next 4 years, especially the first two. The two relationships you're going to have to really focus on, and you're going to be doing commentary on, is the relationship between Trump and Musk and how long that lasts, because Musk believes he owns the government and the White House right now after investing over $100 million in buying it with Trump. And then the second relationship, based on the economy, the tariffs, these continuing resolution deals that may get killed ultimately in the House, that relationship between MAGA and Republicans, elected officials and voters, right? The economy and Donald Trump, because he owns it now. He owns the economy. He can't blame Biden. He can't blame Barack. He can't blame anyone else. So now it's on his watch, right? That relationship is going to go south, in my opinion, if this economy doesn't keep moving forward like it has on the Biden administration. But more importantly, you see the stock market going down. The stock market doesn't care about Donald Trump. It cares about its money. And so those two relationships that I just spoke of are what's at risk every day once the Republicans take over. And so watch that. You'll be doing a lot of commentary on it, right? And that's how we win in 2 years. Hopefully, with the right candidate, that's how we win in 4 years. And I'm talking about the Democrats getting democracy back.
This is the article says this here. Hold on 1 second. The article says switching to a clean spending bill won't totally solve Johnson's problems. He'll still need help from Democrats to pass even a clean stopgap bill. Some conservatives still won't vote for it, even without the add-ons. And I'm sorry, this is where, if I'm Democrats, I go, no, Johnson, you got more than 218 votes on your side. You pass it. Don't come begging at me. And again, let me be clear. I understand people watching may say, yeah, but damn, that's going to be cold-blooded because it's going to impact folks. It could cause checks to stop. I understand that. But again, since a majority of Americans decided they did not want Vice President Kamala Harris, they did not want Democrats, they did not want to reward the people who fixed this economy and got it back, and they want to reward the people who tanked it, that's where you say, nah, boo, it's on you.
No, boo, it's on you.
It's amusing and not at the same time to watch some of this. Until very recently, these Trump voters said it was about the economy because he said he was going to bring prices down. Now, last week, this week, he said, oh, I can't do that. Prices are not going to come down. Well, how did they believe? Well, you know, they believed him, and now they're going to have a big surprise because prices are going up. Everything about everything he's promised to do is going to raise prices. Deportations will raise prices. Americans are not going to go out there and pick that lettuce. So that the deportations will raise prices. Tariffs are inflationary. The very small rate cut that we experienced today from the Fed raises issues, and they have said already, we're not going to do this again. They have 3 rate cuts this year. They said they'll only have 2 next year. They were projecting 4. So they are concerned about the economy, although, you know, the Fed tries not to meddle in politics, and so they're not going to say very much. But they said plenty when they say we're only going to raise lower rates twice. And what they said, Dow Jones heard, and therefore you saw that stock drop. So the people who believe that man are going to get what they believed in. Unfortunately, the rest of us who did not believe that man and still have to eat, live, and do all that, we're gonna feel it too. People are gonna feel it. But perhaps, as A. Scott says, if they feel it enough, in 2 years, we can at least take back the House.
Well, and so again, you know, Donald Trump posted this ridiculous statement, him and J.D. Vance on Truth Social. It's a whole bunch of crap. He talked about Congress is going to consider a spending bill that would give sweetheart provisions for government censors and for Liz Cheney and Blue. And then you see this right here. Then they claim will make it easier to hide the records of the corrupt January 6th committee, and on and on and on. Increasing the debt ceiling is not great, but we'd rather do it on Biden's watch. If Democrats won't cooperate on the debt ceiling now, what makes anyone think they would do it in June during our administration? Let's have this debate now. We should pass a streamlined spending bill that doesn't give Chuck Schumer and the Democrats everything they want. And so then he goes, Republicans want to support our farmers, pay for disaster relief, and set our country up for success in 2025. The only way to do that is with a temporary funding bill without Democratic giveaways, combined with an increase in the debt ceiling. Anything else to betray our country. The reality, Scott, is Donald Trump increased the debt by 25% when he was there before. And so they're a bunch of liars. And I'm telling you, this is where I would say Democrats say, man, don't even come talk to us.
Right.
Don't even come talk to us.
Right.
Listen, come January, the Republicans will have a 3-vote margin in the House. They're going to have a 6-vote margin in the Senate. Now, nothing can get out of the House unless Republicans pass it. And this is where, if I'm Hakeem Jeffries, I tell my 215, chill. We ain't doing nothing for y'all. No, you go work your side and get all the votes. Because whatever y'all want to pass, this on y'all. Go right ahead. And then, so when Trump's tax cuts, when that comes up, they want to make them permanent, it's going to jack up the debt. And then they want to cut all sorts of programs. That's when you sit there and say, go right ahead. Knock yourself out, go right ahead. And when all these folk in these red states start whining and complaining about not getting services, that's when you say, I'm sorry, it's above me now. You need to call Johnson. You need to call Johnson. You need to call Thune. You need to call Trump. Don't call us, because this is what y'all wanted. Y'all wanted crazy. Y'all wanted these fools. Now you got them.
Yeah, Hakeem ought to say one other thing, too. Don't shake your lips to even ask for any help or support from the Dems. That's complete bullshit, and just ain't gonna hear it. The other thing is, who is Donald Trump gonna blame after January 20th or 21st when the prices on groceries and gas don't go down, when the prices on oil go up, when he can't stop the 2 wars, as he says on day one? who's he going to blame when he commutes the sentences or gives pardons to the disruptors who attacked the Capitol in 2020? You see, the blame game only goes so far, and he'll lie and try to. How long will his supporters, either in the House or Senate or the MAGA supporters, as the economy gets worse and worse under his leadership, who is he going to find to blame? What more lies is he going to tell until the 10 red states who get the most entitlements in this country, or the senators and House of Representatives, feel empowered because they can't win with Trump in 2 to 4 years? They've got to figure out a way to win without him as well as without his money. They can't do that if this economy is going south and he's not fixing it. And historically, we know the Republicans don't have the ability, political or business or economic ability, to deliver a strong economy. Only the Democrats do that after cleaning up the Republicans' mess, historically going back to, I guess, 1965. So we'll see. Those are real issues we got to watch and look at.
There you go. Hold tight 1 second. Got to go to break. We come back. More to talk about all the crazy drama here. And, of course, President Biden. Y'all know he's still president. He's still president. And so we'll talk about his remaining days in office. He spoke at a DNC Christmas reception on Sunday, where Vice President Kamala Harris also spoke. We'll have that for you. Plus, lots of other stuff we want to talk about, folks, deal with, including the mayor of Atlantic City. That brother, y'all, he got indicted for telling his daughter to lie about what she told law enforcement. We're going to deal with that. And all them FBA B1 Negroes who were slamming Vice President Kamala Harris and who were demanding reparations. Well, guess what? That white conservative Ed Bloom, he's now going after a reparations bill that was passed in New York. Didn't we try to tell y'all this was going to happen? Okay. Got a few words for y'all, too. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you helped build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on Start Engine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
On the next A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, we're talking about leveling up, or to put it another way, living your very best life. How to take a bold step forward that'll rock your world.
Leveling up is different for everybody. You know, I think we fall into this trap, which often gets us stuck because we're looking at someone else's level up journey, what leveling up means to them. For some, it might be a business venture. For some, it might be a relationship situation, but it's different for everybody.
It's all a part of A Balanced Life. That's next on Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Dexter Jenkins is a faith-based financial mentor with more than 20 years in the financial services industry. He's passionate about helping families build generational wealth.
Even though I'm talking about things like prayer, I'm talking about things about reading the word, I'm talking about things like fellowship, I'm talking to members who are dealing with losing their houses, or I'm talking to members who, because of a lack of the handling their finances, they're working 2 and 3 jobs. And so what I'm finding is that they're not coming to church because they don't have a handle on their finances.
We're talking how to get wealthy through faith and our finances on the next Get Wealthy, right here, only on Black Star Network.
How you doing? My name is Mark Carey, and you're watching Roland Martin, unfiltered, deep into it, like pasteurized milk without the 2%. We getting deep. You want to turn that shit off? We're doing an interview, motherfucker.
All right, folks, welcome back. So, a few months ago, the mayor of Atlantic City and his wife, who happens to be the superintendent of schools in Atlantic City, both got themselves in trouble. They got charged because their daughter says that they beat her. Now, this is what the latest. Go to my iPad. The Atlantic City mayor has now been indicted for allegedly asking his daughter to recant her claims that he abused her. They say it's witness tampering. So when you go through this, Atlantic City Mayor Marty Small indicted. They say that in September 2024, 6 months after being charged with abusing the daughter, he asked the daughter to do him a favor and, quote, twist up, unquote, the story she told police about alleged abuse. Now, he wanted her to say she tripped and bumped her head. She says no, she was struck several times with the broom. And that's what happened, causing her to lose consciousness. Now, according to the family, now the girl's still living at the house, and her attorneys deny it. The mayor's wife, LaQuetta Small, you know she black, her name LaQuetta. She's the superintendent of schools in Atlantic City. She's been charged with child endangerment related to the original case. They both say no wrongdoing. I mean, Scott, what happened to the day when you could beat your kid's ass and you just did nothing happen? But now they call the cops on you and everything. But this is stupid here. So you got two public officials, one a superintendent, the mama, the mayor of the city, that's the daddy, and she's like, yo, okay, I got beat. She calls the cops. Now they indicted. She's still at the house. I'm sorry, your ass got to move.
Well, I think I was abused in the 60s and early 70s by my parents, and I just never mind. But no, that's called child abuse in 2024, Roland, because I got my ass whooped on the regular, and I deserved it.
So check this out, Scott. Check this out. It says authorities said both parents emotionally abused, go to my iPad, emotionally abused and hit the girl, who was 15 to 16 years old, in December and January, at least once, to the point of unconsciousness. Prosecutors filed court documents in April saying the Smalls disapprove of their daughter's boyfriend, who secretly used a video chat to record an alleged instance of the mayor physically and verbally assaulting the girl. An affidavit from prosecutors say the girl at one point acknowledged making up the accusations because she was angry her parents wouldn't let her go out with friends. But in other sections, the document includes detailed claims by the girl that the abuse was real, and it says she photographed bruises and sent them to her boyfriend, who shared them with detectives. Then it says the Office of Atlantic County Prosecutor William Reynolds cited evidence including recordings of interactions between the girl and her parents, her statements to police, school workers, a therapist, and state child welfare investigators, and messages she sent to friends saying she did not feel safe at home. This sounds like, Scott, like a whole lot of family drama.
I didn't hear you, Roland. One more time. I was talking to your team.
I said it sounded like a whole bunch of family drama. The girl says I got abused. Then she says she made up some of the stuff, but then she says some of the stuff is true and all kinds of stuff like that.
This is going nowhere fast, okay? This ought to be in family court, one. And two, it ought to be the girl clearly is confused. She may be abused. She should have her own guardian ad litem lawyer representing her interests. She should not be in the home, because if she was beat when she was unconscious, then that's not a good environment for her. And her guardian ad litem should remove her from the home and put her in a relative's home or in Children and Family Services home. So I don't know why they're indicting the mayor for having that conversation with her daughter. Listen, these conversations take place all the time in poor dysfunctional families or just dysfunctional families. But that's the remedy. But I'm not sure you ought to be indicting an elected official for having a conversation, because I know his lawyers, the mayor's lawyers are going to say, yeah, they had conversations about it. You put her back in the home, and they had conversations about the credibility of the daughter's allegations and resolving this, making this a private family matter, so forth and so on. That's what I'd say if I was the mayor's lawyer. And so this all get worked out, but the daughter ought not be in the home, because if you keep her in the home, then the government is saying it's okay and safe for her to be in the home. Otherwise, why would you let her go back to the home? So it really doesn't make any sense. This isn't going anywhere. This is a case that cries out for resolution and settlement, not criminal indictment.
Julian?
I mean, I fully agree. This is amusing at some level. It's not amusing, but I said it, I didn't say it. And the girl said she was too afraid to be at home, so she's still at home. I'm sure they gave her the option of going to Child Protective Services when they investigated this and said, if you're afraid to live at home, we can put you somewhere. Now, somewhere is probably not as nice as home is, and that's probably a consideration as well. And then I'm very curious about this boyfriend. Like, how old is he? Is he an adult male, or is he a teenager also? Just saying, because there are a whole lot of predators adult men who have teenage girlfriends, and they interfere in family relations. And they said the article said the parents didn't like the boyfriend. Well, most fathers don't like their daughter's boyfriends. But if the man is a buzzard, daddy really didn't like her and probably did say some things. And then Scott is right. I mean, parents have conversations. I'm just thinking back, for whatever reason, I really can't figure it out. I used to get my butt beat on the regular. And one time I got beat for, my mother said, I've beaten you for shit you did and for shit you thought about. You have beat me for thought about. That year they sent me down to Mississippi to live with my auntie in Moss Point, Mississippi. She just whipped out a strap on you in a minute. And she was a little short, fat lady. Rip out extension cord, whatever. And call me stupid little heifer. Stupid little heifer, I'll kill you. One day I just laid down. And she said, why are you laying down? I said, you said you're going to kill me, so go for it. So she beat me.
God. Hey, Roland, my Aunt Beulah, rest her soul, used to make us go get a switch from next door. And then she'd whip my ass. And if you were in the group of kids, like with my cousins, and you didn't do anything, but the other cousins did it, she'd whip all our ass. And you got to take the good with the bad. So, I don't think anybody should be beat to the unconscious, but come on, man. This is family court shit. It really is.
The girl has acknowledged she made some of the stuff up, so she might have made that unconscious shit up too. Yeah, I'm sure she got a behind beat, because it sounds like she got a behind beat, and they acknowledged. But you're right. The standard, you started out by saying the standard of abuse in 2024 is different than it was in the 1960s, and it started changing. I had my nephew all the time. I had him here in D.C., and the boy wouldn't make up his bed, and so I wouldn't feed him. I said, you get fed when you make up your bed. He said, starving me is child abuse. I said, right. I said, here the phone, go call somebody and see what they do.
Or here's a pan, go cook. All right. Well, again, we're going to follow this story, see what the hell happens, but it's a whole bunch of drama. It's a whole bunch of drama there as well. When we come back, President Joe Biden gives a final parting word to the Democrats at their holiday reception. We'll show you what he had to say. Also, the vice president. We'll talk about it. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Isaac Gaetz III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on Start Engine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early-stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
I had been trying to get a record deal for a long time. You know, when I finally got signed to the Motown record label in 2003, I was 34, 35 years old. And up until that time, I had been trying to get record deals the traditional way. You know, you record your demo, you record your music, and you send it, you know, to the record labels, or maybe somebody, a friend of a friend, knows somebody that works for, you know, the record label. And really, chemistry that was my last-ditch effort at being in the music business.
How long have you been trying?
I've been trying since I was a teenager.
Wow.
You know? And you know, and I'm grateful that it didn't. I'm grateful that it happened when it happened, because I wasn't prepared, you know, as a teenager to embrace all that comes with a career in the music industry. This is Motown recording artist Kim. You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. That boy, he always unfiltered though. I ain't never known him to be filtered. Is there another way to experience Roland Martin than to be unfiltered? Of course he's unfiltered. Would you expect anything less? Watch what happens next.
All right, folks, Sunday, President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris spoke to Democrats at the DNC as they had their holiday reception. Here is some of his remarks.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, DNC. I want to thank Jamie Harrison for his leadership as chairman. There was a congressman down there in his state that called me one day and said, Joe, you're going to have to decide on a chairman. Let me tell you who it is. I said, sure, whatever you say. Anyway, it turned out that, Jamie, you've done a hell of a job. And, you know, the fact is that when we started off, as you heard me say many times, I didn't plan on running again. And because things had changed in my life. And but I got a call from Chris Gorge and others saying, you know, we ought to do this. There's a lot at stake. I spent you heard me say, I know I only look like I'm 40, but I've been around a long time. And there's one advantage of having been the oldest president in American history. I've gotten to know virtually every world leader in the last 50 years. I know them pretty well. And what I realized more intensely than I ever did before, that we are the essential country. That's not hyperbole. It's not about what we want to be. Ask yourself the question, if we don't lead the world, who does? Not a joke. Who does? Who leads if we don't? And when I decided to run, I thought we could win, I determined I was going to have an administration that looked like America, represented every aspect of America. And we kept that commitment. I don't think anybody's going to be able to turn that around. And thanks to all of you for your support to the DNC. Jill and I, Kamala and Doug, could never have gotten to the White House without you, and that's not hyperbole. We never could have gotten as much done as we did without you. You not only contribute to campaigns, but you did something I think even more important. You're willing to lend your names, your reputation, your character to the effort. When you signed that check, you knew what you were doing. You're putting yourself on the line. And we're forever grateful for your character. The one thing I've always believed about public service, and especially about the presidency, is the importance of asking yourself, have we left the country better shape than we found it? Today, I can say with every fiber of my being, with all my heart, the answer to that question is a resounding yes. Yes. Because of all of you assembled here, we can be proud we're leaving America in a better place today than when we came here 4 years ago. This country was living through the worst pandemic the country had seen in 100 years. Our economy was in a tailspin. Millions of people were out of work. Businesses were being shuttered. Schools were closed. And there was no plan for going forward. Just 2 weeks before being sworn in, we just witnessed something we thought would never happen in America. A violent insurrection encouraged by the man sitting in the White House on January 6th. And so much more. We've come a long way since then. We passed historic legislation. Laws that are literally building the strongest economy in the world. There's not a world leader you can name for me who hadn't told me at these G7, these 20 meetings, all these meetings I meet with them, they wouldn't trade places with us in a heartbeat. Laws that, when fully implemented, are going to change America for decades to come. But we did know that many of the laws we passed were so consequential, they wouldn't be implemented right away. It takes time to build those fabs, those factories for chips. It takes time to get this construction going. Over $1.4 trillion in infrastructure. $1 trillion so far in private sector investments in America. The biggest investment ever in climate in the history of the world. And fundamentally transforming our economy to grow from the middle out and the bottom up, not just the top down. I fully believe that America is better positioned because of all of you to lead the world today than any point in the last 50 years of my career. That's because of you. Again, not hyperbole. You lend your reputations, your names to this effort. It's not just the contributions you made. It's just stepping up, putting yourself on the line. You should be so damn proud of the work we've done together. You should never forget all you've done for the country. I'm also proud that we can say we've done all this with a deep belief in the core values of America. Those values were all created. You heard me say it 100 times. You know, we're the most unique nation in the world. Every other nation was based on geography, religion, ethnicity, some common factor. But in America, we were built on an idea, the only country in the world. We hold these truths self-evident that all men and women are created equal. Everyone should have a fair shot. Hate should never have a safe harbor in America. That's what we're about. We've never fully lived up to all of that, but we stuck with our principles and set a high standard of character, integrity, in public life. Let me say it's been the honor of my life to serve as your president. But the title I'm most proud of is being Jill's husband. You know, it's well known by now. I had asked her 5 times. Thank God she said yes the 5th time. But I think she's been one of our greatest first ladies, and I mean that sincerely. She wasn't kidding about the first speeches she made. She was scared to death to go out and make those speeches. Look at her now. Yo, I'm in trouble. But look, it's also been an incredible honor to serve with someone of immense character that she demonstrated through her entire career, Kamala Harris. I knew what I was doing to ask her to be my vice president. I knew her. I knew of her. I knew about her. I knew her record. I trusted her. She always served this country with purpose and integrity, and she always will. And you're not going anywhere, kid, because we're not going to let you go. Not going anywhere. You know, just as our great second gentleman, I love that, second gentleman. This guy's one of the best lawyers in America. This guy gave up a practice. This guy's an incredible guy. And one thing we have in common, I used to practice law for about 10 days, but I used to practice law. But the thing Doug and I have in common, we both married way above our station. Thank you, Doug and Kamala, not only for your service, but Jill and I are grateful to call you dear friends. Look, let me close with this. Our time in office is coming to an end. The America of our dreams is calling us to stay engaged. We're not, Jill and I don't think Kamala and Doug are going anywhere. We look to the future. It's more important than ever to keep organizing, to keep talking to folks. We all get knocked down. My dad would say, when you get knocked down, you just got to get up. Get up. The measure of a person or a party is how fast they get back up. And to know what we believe in is really worth fighting for. That's the road ahead. To never give up. To keep the faith. To know that what we're doing matters. I know I'm going to stay engaged. I know Kamala and Jill and Doug are going to will as well. And I know you will. We need you badly. The country needs you badly. We just have to remember, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, remember who we are. We're the United States of America, for God's sake. Many of you are students of history. No other nation in the world has come through every crisis stronger than they went into the crisis, and except the United States. And folks, look, all the things we passed, we knew people weren't going to see it. How long does it take to build a fab that's going to hire thousands of people? Billions of dollars being invested. It just takes time to get it built. It takes time to get it going. It's not going to happen for another 5-6 months in many places. Just getting started. The United States of America is nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. But we knew a lot of this was going to take time. But look what's out there. Everything from anyway, I'll get going here. But you really did a hell of a job. I really mean it. And the thing I most admire about working with all of you have great integrity. Great integrity. You've stuck with the deal. You've been honest. You've been decent. We've run a campaign that's basically scandal-free. It's hard to do in American politics these days. Anyway, I just want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. The bad news for you all is I ain't going nowhere. We're going to stay engaged. And having been listed the poorest man in Congress for 36 years, I may be able to actually contribute now. But all kidding aside, thank you very, very much. You're a group of the most decent people. God bless you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, folks, you heard President Biden there reference Vice President Kamala Harris. She also had a few words to say.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Happy holidays, and thank you all for what you are, what you have done, what you will do. Dr. Jill Biden, let me just say, it has been an extraordinary 4 years, as you have said. And the work that we have done together, the four of us, I wish some of you were privy to seeing just, before we come on stage, when we're hanging out in the back, or just those long nights when we're talking about what we want to get done, the challenges we face, but our commitment to seeing it through. And I'll say about Jill Biden something that probably most of you know. She's a tough cookie who cares so deeply. Jill is tough. She has a tough exterior. She has one of the biggest hearts of anybody I know. She cares about the people. The way she talks, for example, about her students, the way she talks about people who are often overlooked, are just not thought of in any way that they should be, that's who Jill is. And so, Jill, it's been an extraordinary experience to work with you, and our friendship is lifelong, as you know, and I love you. Thank you. Thank you. And can we hear it again for the first, second gentleman of the United States? Also known as my Dougie. It is so good to be here with everyone this evening, including Chair Jamie Harrison, Finance Chair Chris Corge, and so many others. And we are here tonight to thank you all for the work that you have done. And it has been tireless work. When it mattered most, through the entire campaign, including those 107 days, you all rallied. You rallied. You opened your homes. You reached out to your friends and your family. You put your personal capital, and by that I mean your relationships, at stake to talk with people because you care so deeply and you connected with people and took the time to remind them of what is at stake and what was at stake. You sacrificed an extraordinary amount of time not doing other priorities in your life to focus on this campaign and by extension to focus on our country and its future. With your help, we brought together people from every walk of life and every background, all united by a deep love of country, all motivated by enthusiasm and joy in our fight for America's future. And as a result of your leadership and your support, the National Finance Committee held more than 700 events across the country and raised nearly $700 million. An historic achievement, which without a doubt made our campaign stronger. So I thank you again for all you have done. And I ask that everyone here, that you hold on to and know in your heart and in your spirit that everything you did made a difference and mattered and has impact that is lasting. All the work you did to bring these resources together allowed us to do rallies where people from every walk of life would come. And they would look around and see that we are one community of people called Americans. They would look and they would see people they'd never met before and feel a sense of their own power in knowing that they are not alone and that we are all in this together. You gave people and allowed them to have that feeling, and that can't be taken away. And as we look to the future, we will continue then to rely on your support to make sure our party can continue to do that kind of work, which is about being on the ground, being where the people are, going to them to organize and mobilize and remind people of the power of their voice. So look, the holiday season is one of my favorite times of year, that and my birthday. And our wedding anniversary, of course. Just gonna keep digging this hole deeper and deeper. But it's a time of gratitude and a time of celebration. And so it's so important this holiday season to remember we all have so much to celebrate. We have a country we love. We have ideals that we're very clear about in terms of their importance and the importance of us fighting for those ideals. And we have each other. And our work is about being intentional about building community. Our work is about being intentional about building coalitions. Our work is fueled by our knowledge that the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. We who understand that we are all in this together. We who, as I like to say, look in the face of a stranger and see a neighbor. That's how we do our work. And we who know that the true measure of the strength of a leader is not based on who you beat down, it's based on who you lift up. And that spirit, the spirit with which we do our work, and hear me when I say this, that spirit that fuels the countless hours and days and months of work that you have put into this, that spirit can never be defeated. Our spirit is not defeated. We are not defeated. Let's be clear about that. We are strong. We are clear about why we are in this. And because you're here right now, I say, again, thank you, because not only are you clear about all of that, you're willing to put in the hard work. And that work must continue. We cannot let any circumstance or situation or individual ever take away our power to know why we do what we do, and our ability to then get that work done. And especially because we know what we stand for, and that's why we know what to fight for. We here believe in the promise of America. We believe in the promise of freedom, of justice, of opportunity and dignity, not just for some, but for all. We know that fighting for the promise of America takes hard work. Now, y'all can help me finish this. Many of you have heard me say it. But we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is joyful work. And in the new year, we will continue our work with hope, with determination, and with joy. So I'll close by saying this holiday season, like any time of the year, let us really be conscious of all the blessings we have. Let us celebrate the blessings we have. Let us celebrate in advance the blessings we have yet to create. And let us always remember our country is worth fighting for, and our spirit will not be defeated. And I promise you, I will be with you every step of the way. Thank you.
So we talked about this before in terms of what is next. You heard President Biden say, I'm not going anywhere. Vice President Kamala Harris said, I'm going to be there every step of the way. You see these conversations happening right now, Julian, that she may run for governor of California, also a potential bid in 2028. Frankly, I think what you have to do is, first of all, get past the inauguration of the insurrectionists. Spend some time, figure out where you're going to be living, things along those lines, and then make that decision. You know, and also you have to deal with this reality of how rank and file in the party feel about her as a person. Can she make a national comeback? She was a United States Senator. She ran for president in 2019. Dropped out before the primaries even started. Biden picked her as vice president. It was an up and down 4 years as vice president. Democrats were targeting her, wanting her off the ticket. Biden performs horribly in June 27th debate. She becomes a nominee, saves, if you will, salvages the party, comes within 1.6 points of 1.6% of becoming the 47th president of the United States. From your perspective, where does she go from here?
Well, I think she's going to weigh her options. Frankly, what her election or her candidacy showed all of us is that America is not ready for a woman of color as president. I hate to say that, but it's real.
Well, America also showed they're not ready for a woman president.
Well, yeah, they didn't give it to him either. So if I were she, I would go on and run for the governor of California because that's a very powerful position as well. It's the 5th largest economy in the world. She's a California girl. She's roots in the Bay Area, living in L.A. Her husband has a home in the L.A. area, or they have a home in the L.A. area. I should put it that way. But so, you know, the governor of California is nothing to shake a stick at. And quite frankly, she will be able also to help others. But, you know, that's not going to be a cakewalk for her either. There will be a primary. Gavin will be in the primary.
No, he's term limited.
No.
That's right. I forgot. Sorry about that. Yep. So she again. There's nobody else in California politics who is as towering a figure as she is. Although there's some little wannabes in the Assembly or in the Senate that would possibly go for it. But I think it's a much safer bet for her if she wants to stay in politics. I don't think that, and it sounds like she does. And I think in the perspective of progressive legislation, California is a fulcrum of that, and she could basically do national leadership on progressive issues without risking, and it's a big risk, running for president again. If she runs in 28 and doesn't win, that's it. Bye, Kamala. So, as I said, I'm not she. But if I were she, I would definitely go for the governorship of California and maintain my space in a national political space and remain an inspiration to especially to Black girls. I mean, she said a lot on the trail. She talked a lot about Black girls. I saw her, I don't know how many times, see a little Black girl in the audience and go and talk to her. And that meant a lot to a lot of people. That's not a policy thing, but it's a feel-good thing. It was like Barack and the little boy when, he let the little boy touch his hair. So that's what I would do, and I think it's the safest bet for her. She doesn't have to be safe, but she does have to win.
The thing here, Scott, is that, listen, if she runs for governor and wins, she still makes history. The first black female governor in American history. Also, California is the 4th largest economy in the world. So it's not like it's a small state and it could play a huge role when it comes to American politics. Your thoughts?
Yeah, maybe, but let me say this. What she wants to do, the only part of her choice is does she want to stay relevant and stay in the national spotlight? Don't know that answer. Pundits will talk about that. The reality is, what do Democratic voters, how do they feel about her, and where do they want her to be? She can't afford to lose again. Running for governor of California sounds really good. At the same time, it's a bastion of far-left politics, and this country may be moving to the right and maybe running for governor and running on issues, far-left issues or liberal issues that she was criticized for and she ran away from in this election, and every election is different. Will America in 2028 be ready for a left or far-left candidate who happens to be black and a woman? Can she compete in 2028?
So when you say, okay, hold on. So when you say far-left issues, name them. Like what?
Oh, progressive politics, basically.
No. Far left and progressive are two separate things. So what I'm saying is, name the issues.
Well,
like what?
Well, progressive politics in regard to gay rights, gun rights, gun protection rights. What else? Civil rights, human rights.
But those are
reproductive rights.
But those are not far.
I use that in juxtaposition.
But those are not far left.
Conservatives and Republicans.
Yeah, but those are not far left. The other thing that you also have
transgender rights.
But also what you have to recognize. Also, what you have to recognize is that California has gotten more conservative than it has. I mean, when you look at this last election, when you look at the congressional representation, when you look at the numbers, they're there. So California is not. I mean, this notion that California is this far left liberal bastion. That's not fully the case, and so.
But you're still making my point, though. Even if I agree with you that California has moved to the right at some level, the fact of the matter is, if California in the next 2+ years is going to move further right, then does she move right?
And so, hold up. That's the point. You said that when she ran for president, she moderated on some issues. I'm not calling her a centrist, but she's more of a centrist than some other candidates. And that may be the candidate that California needs right now. Somebody who is a Democrat, somebody who is center left, but not far center left, who is closer to the middle than far left.
Absolutely. And okay, now she won't be, now here's the other thing too. What will define whether she's relevant and stays in the mix is who runs against her. Do they see her as a wounded candidate? Do they think they can beat her? Doesn't mean they can. She certainly will have a lot of support, if you will. But these are factors that go into whether she runs or not, but more importantly, whether she wins or not. And I don't think we can project that over 2 to 4 years yet. I think it remains to be seen. And we talk about these progressive issues. Black Lives Matter, if you will, transgender rights, right? She's got an incredible record already that is mixed, if you will, that will be subject to scrutiny, whatever she runs for, or if she does run, and she's going to have competition. And then in the end, what does Newsom do? Newsom can't run anymore, but does he run for president and set the national agenda? Because he certainly is left of center. All I'm saying is, where's America on these issues in 2 to 4 years? That's going to dictate what Kamala Harris does, Gavin Newsom does, and really the Democratic Party. Do they move right of center? Do they stay where they are and fight for righteousness and individual rights and for democracy? Or do they change issues, move on issues in order to become electable? because none of this really matters unless you can get elected. I'm sorry. It's all good and we can stand on principle. Do you stand on principle and not win, or do you change your principles and values some in order to win elective office, including the White House? Those are the questions, and we can't answer them now. What we're going to do is watch and see where America goes and really how good or bad this Republican administration moves this country forward. Those are real issues.
Well, the reality, Julian, is that obviously what happens in D.C. Is going to predict a lot of this. And that's really what jumps out because if Republicans when they take over and if they start screwing stuff up, you're going to have a lot of people howling and screaming in America.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And Kamala Harris, and I would disagree strongly with Scott about her so-called far left positions and all the things that you mentioned, Scott. Transgender rights is a tricky one, but other than that, civil rights, women's rights, those are not things that are debatable. They're not even far left.
For the Republicans, DEI is a far left piece. So I was talking about from a conservative lens.
Hey, Scott, you're just wrong, and you know you're wrong. So if I was with you, I'd hit you upside the head. But since there's no such thing as a zoom upside the head, so and I love you dearly, by the way. But let me just say that the point about what happens nationally, if what is likely to happen nationally is going to cement, I think, so-called far-left positions. As we see inflation, which is happening, y'all, which is happening. And you see inflation, as you see the closing of the National Labor Relations Board or the shrinking of it, as we see what happens in education. Remember, in California, if you want to graduate from a Cal State university, you have to take an ethnic studies class. If you want to graduate from a Cal State, you have to take an ethnic studies class. I'm sure that Governor Newsom supported that strongly. Shirley Weber, who's a Secretary of State and a former professor at San Diego State, pushed that legislation through. You also have to take one if you're in high school. Not until 2026, though. I think they gradually putting that in. But in any case, California is a big DEI state, and it's going to be interesting to see as we see some of the things that we've taken for granted be snatched away. What I think that it strengthens the vice president's position, whatever she runs for, if she chooses to run. Now, the other thing here, though, will she choose? Running for president is not for sissies. She found that out in 2019 when she did make it through one primary, dropped out, raised a bunch of money, but didn't have the organization nor the momentum. This time she did. But part of it was inheriting part of Biden's organization. I mean, she had her own organization, but she inherited the organization of a long distance runner in getting the Democratic establishment nomination or organization. So just looking at that, again, I think this is not a safe bet for her, but I think it's her best bet. I think the presidency for a black woman is just a woman of color. At this point, it's just out of the realm. I'm still disturbed, although black men didn't do the worst things. 21% of black men did vote for the Orange Man. And when I've talked to some about why, many of them thought he would do the economy better. Well, we're going to see about that. But many, including one of my own male siblings, that he just couldn't see a woman in that position.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, he's a little sexist pig. I don't know how he has 4 sisters, but maybe that's why he's a little sexist pig, actually, because he has 4 sisters. But many of his friends were on the side. We don't want a woman in there. So when you look at that, you just got to say, while we want to win, as I think you said, and Roland, we got to be pragmatic. Can she win? And what can she win? Mm-hmm. She's won statewide in California 3 times. She's won statewide in California 3 times. That's something worth saying.
All right, folks, hold tight 1 second. We come back. We're going to talk about conservatives who are targeting any efforts when it comes to reparations. No shock there. Also, New York Mayor Eric Adams says Democrats lost because they compared Donald Trump to Hitler. Wasn't that J.D. Vance, who's his vice president? So what the hell is Eric Adams talking about? Isn't Eric Adams really trying to position himself for a Trump pardon. We're going to talk about that. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
What's up, y'all? Look, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering a unique opportunity for everyday people to invest in Black-owned tech, infrastructure, and help shape the future of social media. Investing in technology is essential for creating long-term wealth and influence in the digital age. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it.
Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Dexter Jenkins is a faith-based financial mentor with more than 20 years in the financial services industry. He's passionate about helping families build generational wealth.
Even though I'm talking about things like prayer, I'm talking about things about reading the word, I'm talking about things like fellowship, I'm talking to members who are dealing with losing their houses, or I'm talking to members who, because of a lack of the handling their finances, they're working 2 and 3 jobs. And so what I'm finding is that they're not coming to church because they don't have a handle on their finances.
We're talking how to get wealthy through faith and our finances on the next Get Wealthy right here, only on Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. There's a lot of talk about the inevitability of another civil war in this country. But on our next show, we'll talk to a noted author and scholar who says we're actually in the middle of one right now. In fact, Steve Phillips says the first one that started back in 1861, well, it never ended.
People carrying the Confederate flag, wearing sweatshirts saying MAGA Civil War, January 6, 2021, stormed the U.S. Capitol, hunted down the country's elected officials, built a gallows for the Vice President of the United States, and to block the peaceful transfer of power within this country.
On the next Black Table, here on the Black Star Network.
Now that Roland Martin is willing to give me the blueprint, hey, Cyrus, I need to go to Tyler Perry and get another blueprint because I need some green money. The only way I can do what I'm doing, I need to make some money. So you'll see me working with Roland. Matter of fact, it's the Roland Martin and Cheryl Underwood Show. Well, should it be the Cheryl Underwood Show and the Roland Martin Show? Well, whatever show it's going to be good.
All right, Donald Trump plans to nominate Herschel Walker to be his pick to be ambassador to the United Nations. Let's see. What's Herschel's qualifications? Well, he's a former NFL player. He won the Heisman Trophy, and he got crushed for saying stupid stuff when he ran for the United States Senate, and just has personal scandals and on and on and on. Really, as ambassador, he's going to manage the United States relationship with the Bahamas. Scott, do you think he can spell Bahamas?
I don't think so, but it may not be a heavy lift for him. But I still don't understand Herschel Thomas when he speaks. So my Bahamian.
You can't understand Herschel Walker. Scott, really? You can't. Yeah. All they're gonna say is MAGA, 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 MAGA.
I can't understand you either. So, you got to understand somebody to even converse with them or engage them. And I know I talk for a living, but you got to be able to speak the Queen's English. Even if you got a Southern drawl, it's okay. And I can never understand Herschel Walker. The other thing is this, you got to get through confirmation hearings. And I'm not convinced that he's going to get any Democratic support, but he may lose some senators too, because they can't understand him. Not so much that they don't really like him, but he certainly didn't qualify. And he didn't give the administration a whole bunch of money either. So this is really an unusual appointment. I don't know whether he's a disruptor or not, but if they give him some speech lessons, he might be okay. He might be.
First of all, Julian, you know damn well the Bahamians going to be like, y'all sending us this dumb ass.
Yeah. You know, Roland, this shows us how little the incoming president
thinks of us.
values.
Right.
Why would you send this knucklehead, who's a multiple-time woman abuser, who and he can't even speak the pauper's English? It's not the Queen's English. I mean, and he's just a totally odious human being. And as you said, he didn't give the Orange Man that much money. But you know what? As we see these appointments come in, what we've seen is the overwhelming whiteness of the people that the Orange Man has lifted up. And so this gives him his, I believe, DE, but there's his diversity pick right there, y'all. That's what that is. And it's going to be very interesting. Our relationship with the Bahamas is important for many, many reasons, including the shared ocean, all the ocean stuff that's going on, as we look at climate change, which, of course, the Republicans don't believe in. And so you think this person who can't basically, like you said, spell Bahamas, can manage those complicated relationships? I don't think so. I mean, only good news is that most of these embassies have staff who work for the State Department. And they don't tend to change them like they change ambassadors with an election. Some of those people will be long-term staff members who have relationships, and that will be the only saving grace. I think that's going to be the saving grace with many of the ambassadorial appointments. Less so, I think, because of Project 2025 with some of the cabinet appointments. So they will turn over people there. But this is just a joke. I mean, this is like, okay, we lost the election. We kind of bummed out about it. Christmas is coming. But this is like our intermission amusement. Every time they nominate somebody, we all get an opportunity to collectively crack up. And this is no different than that. I just, I get up in the morning, look at the news, and just start shaking my head. I'm going to throw my neck out pretty soon with some of this stuff. It's hilarious, but it's also very sad.
Well, that boy just dumb.
That part.
I mean, he just dumb. I mean, just dumb. I could not even imagine if Herschel Walker's people said you have a 10-minute interview with him, I would try to figure out what I'm gonna do with the other 8. I'm just saying. Got somebody sitting there, Roland going after low-hanging fruit, Herschel Walker. No, fool. No, sports actuary filtered, fool. That's who he's nominating to be an ambassador. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about his bumbling, stumbling ass all day, every day, because he's stupid. That's who he is. All right, let's talk about TikTok. The Supreme Court has agreed to decide whether a ban on the social media app TikTok violates the First Amendment. The High Court agrees to expedite the case. They're going to hear arguments on January 10th. And remember, on January 19th, they're supposed to sell TikTok or shut it down. Now, they're appealing to the Supreme Court. They thrust the justices into a high-profile fight between Congress, which has cited national security concerns over China's control of the app. In addition to the hearing from attorneys for TikTok and the government, the court will also hear arguments from attorneys for users of the app who are also challenging the ban. This right here, Scott, is a really big deal because, again, they're citing national security concerns. TikTok, huge following. And the concern of members of Congress is that China has access to all of the data of the users, but more importantly, they have the ability to impact what happens in this country by controlling the algorithm.
Yeah, so this is a big fight, and it's a big fight vis-a-vis First Amendment of the TikTok users and national security for a company that ultimately is owned by China, who is, while interdependent economically and on trade between the United States and China, is also one of our military adversaries and continues to be a threat in regard to Taiwan, in regard to our economy, our technology, our businesses from America to do business there, stealing our IP. and all of these issues. Now TikTok's users certainly love TikTok. Small businesses make money off of it, but it's still a national security issue. Donald Trump has been back and forth in regard to his position on TikTok. He thinks TikTok helped get him elected, and so look for, regardless of what the Supreme Court does, if it strikes down the law, look for Congress to quickly implement a law that will withstand scrutiny by the Supreme Court. But if the Supreme Court continues to uphold the lower court's decisions for the D.C. Circuit, then look for Donald Trump to either cut a deal vis-a-vis the sale and resale of TikTok or the owner that's ultimately owned by China, or look for an executive order or for an emergency session from Congress, now that the Republicans are in control, to scale back that bill or to create a new bill, because Donald Trump is not only popular, but he's got control of the House and Senate. All of this is heavy lifting. And remember, we don't have a continuing resolution to keep the government open at the same time. So if that doesn't get done, how big of a priority will TikTok be to the administration and the House and the Senate? And so we'll have to see. But you can better believe there's pressure on the United States Supreme Court to strike down this law. If that happens, that removes all the challenges with the president and the other two houses, the Republicans, to do something about it.
Julian, to Scott's point, remember Donald Trump was against TikTok, then all of a sudden David Yaz, a big investor, started giving his campaign. He was like, well, you know what, I guess not. I guess I love me some TikTok. I mean, this is truly Donald Trump is a corrupt individual who will say or do anything. And the fact of the matter is he can easily be bought. There's no doubt in my mind.
Very easy. I mean, he's been bought and paid for 3 or 4 times. And even though he has been bought, we have all these other issues of him thumping Bibles, selling Bibles, and expanding his brand of just theft and plutocracy. That's what you have. The TikTok thing is fascinating because it is a security risk as long as China owns the thing. We know that we've had significant competition with China. We've had them hacking into any number of things. We've seen some of the hacks. People have had their bank accounts hacked into, had other things hacked into, and China is not our friend. Mr. Trump, the thing about it, Roland, the man is just inconsistent about everything. He was inconsistent about TikTok. He's inconsistent about China. If you kiss his behind long enough, he'll change his mind about just about anything. I mean, if Planned Parenthood had a few mil to give him, he'd probably come down very strong for abortion. That's just how he is. And so we have this TikTok thing, though, is serious. Although I agree with Scott, if we don't have a government, what priority will TikTok be? The law now has to be sold by, I think, the 19th. And but will anybody enforce that if we have no government? What if there's no Department of Justice because they just let the thing shut down? I don't think that they're going to go that far. I think the notion of the clean spending bill is what we're going to end up with. But I do think that they're taking it to the wire, which is what Republicans very often do. And my other concern, we keep talking about Lil Mike Johnson. I don't think he can be reelected as Speaker. So then what do we end up with? We end up with Marjorie Taylor Greene or some other big old fool? So that government becomes like the clown show. Well, it kind of already is. It becomes a clown show with this extremism. The TikTok case, for me, it's important, but it's not of predominant importance. But
it's not important. It's not important to you, but it's important to a lot of content creators, and also TikTok is a major information source. The reality is, polls showed 18 to 39 folks in the 1839 demo. A majority of them got their information during this election from Instagram and TikTok, and so it is real. So this has national security concerns. You're talking about a major conveyor of information, and so there are going to be a lot of eyes on this particular case here. Let me go to Atlanta, where another case, Rudy Giuliani. I just love how Rudy, little dumbass, keep getting in trouble. Because now he lost the case to the two sisters in Georgia. They've been snatching all his stuff. Now he's been ordered to appear at a contempt hearing to give up more assets. This is the WSB TV website. He's been ordered to appear next month to face claims that he should be held in contempt for failing to turn over assets to the Fulton County election workers he defamed following the 2020 election. Of course, he was ordered to turn over all of his assets to pay off the $148 million judgment against him. He's been disbarred, Scott. All this stuff because he was kissing Donald Trump's ass, and so he ain't like he can get a loan from Trump. And so I'm just loving every single time he got to show up in court. Matter of fact, there's a video on TikTok. After the last hearing, he's like, I ain't got no money, I ain't got no car, I ain't got no nothing. Shouldn't have been running your damn mouth lying on these sisters.
Yeah, but he also has a lot of assets, if you will. So post-judgment in most states goes like this. You have to disclose your assets or put up a bond to collect the $148 million. He doesn't have the money or the financing to put up a bond. And so the court signs an order of execution on that judgment. That is, you can do discovery, document requests, even depositions to identify all of your assets. And then you get an order from the court to attach those assets vis-a-vis the apartment he owns and some of the other assets that were listed in that article, right? Once the court signs an order of execution, you have to sign over those papers, sign over ownership, including the Joe DiMaggio baseball or the signed jersey or what have you. Those are all assets that can be sold by the winning party or the plaintiff in order to get closer to the $148 million. It's interesting that Giuliani has not appealed that $148 million judgment because he doesn't have the money to hire lawyers, if you will, or he'd be better off filing bankruptcy. Second issue, why hasn't he filed bankruptcy to avoid all of this? There's a reason, and that reason is probably because he's got assets and he doesn't want to go through the bankruptcy procedure with a trustee that will be appointed now, whether it's 7 or 11, that is dissolution or working out a payment plan with his creditors. He doesn't want to go through that process because the trustee will find his assets, and if he lies to the trustee, he can be criminally prosecuted for bankruptcy fraud. I don't want to get too deep on the legal side, but these are all the legal machinations that are working from his legal team. And so he's going to have to give up the apartment and the Joe DiMaggio piece and whatever the assets he's disclosed. Independently, there's an investigation in regard to all of his assets. They're looking for that. And as they find them, they'll report them to the court and seek execution orders. So big trouble for him. Lots of trouble.
I say take every damn thing. I don't care. Giuliani take everything. Matter of fact, I wouldn't mind they stripped his ass butt naked outside of court and took his suit, shoes, and socks.
I don't want to see that.
Hey, I want to see it.
Even with the draws.
I want to see it. Strip his ass butt naked, leave him standing there in his drawers and a wife beater.
Say it ain't so.
No, I mean, seriously, what he did to those women was so criminal. I mean, he could have generally just poll workers, but he dissed them by name. He put their address out there. They had no peace. They had to leave their home. And these are not spring chickens. These are women in their 20s. The older woman is in her 60s, I believe, and the younger one is in her 40s. These women's lives were disrupted. The $147 million is a tip of the iceberg of the damage he did. So if he was out there in his tighty whities, that would be just fine with me. It would be a very disgusting sight. But but he needs to be left. He needs to be treated like he treated them. He treated them like they were not human beings, like there were no consequences for the way that he treated them. And that's the issue with the culture. Roland, I know you get tired of me talking about lynch culture, but lynch culture is where you can do anything you want to a black person and expect to bear no consequences. Rudy didn't think he was going to have any consequences. He thought he could say whatever he wanted to about anybody he wanted to. Now, he probably knows the names of some little white women. He didn't call them out. He called these sisters out because he thought he could. So guess what? Now they can reduce him to a naked man. And they should take everything they can, investigation. And I bet you, Cash Money, he's got some stuff hidden. He's probably got a couple hidden apartments or something like that, because, you know, he's one of those kind of rats that has to have more than one home. So he probably has some other houses, somewhere, bank accounts that they haven't discovered. Break him down like he tried to break those women down. Break him down.
All right, y'all. So let me go with this here. New York Mayor Eric Adams, of course, he has been, he out here whining, complaining. You know, that's all he doing. So he's been indicted. And so he then did an interview with Dr. Phil on his Mary Street TV. Now, first of all, if you do Dr. Phil's show, you already know you trying to appeal to Donald Trump anyway. And so now you have Adams literally sounding like Donald Trump by saying that the Democrats have weaponized the Department of Justice against him. He's been indicted. His longtime aide, Ingrid Martin, expects to get indicted tomorrow. And it's just all sort of stuff. He also said that, hey, you know what? That, hey, he might go back to being a Republican, all this sort of stuff. I mean, Eric Adams is really trying to kiss as much MAGA ass to get himself a pardon. So just listen to this nonsense he told this fool, Dr. Phil.
I think it's a combination of things, and I believe at the tip of it is I was extremely vociferous about what was happening to this city during the migrants and asylum seeker issue. I lived my life not only when I was a law enforcement officer, but as a state senator, a borough president, and a mayor, of following the law. And when you look into the crevices of the indictment, it clearly shows there's something that's just not right. And, you know, Dr. Phil, I cannot tell you, the only consolation to this is that mommy's not alive. I would not want my mother to watch me go through this. And it hurts a lot. No American should go through being on the FBI watch list because you're standing up for your family member. That is just not what our criminal justice system is about. And that's not the criminal justice system I fought for. I've been an advocate for proper criminal justice. And so I believe that the record is going to show I did nothing wrong. What I did right, I stood up for this city. And I believe there were those that just disagreed that why was I standing up to see what was happening to my city and happening to the families in the city.
All right, so that's New York Mayor Eric Adams. But here's the problem with all of this, because he act like, you know, oh, it's the Democrats, they were targeting me, this ain't right, this ain't just, this ain't fair. Well, guess what, y'all? Hold on, let me pull this up here. You know, he's saying all this here, but guess what? A judge in the case has upheld the bribery charges. Y'all, this actually happened yesterday. The federal judge overseeing the corruption, this is the New York Times, the federal judge overseeing the corruption case against Mayor Eric Adams on Tuesday rejected an attempt by his lawyers to have a bribery charge against him thrown out. In a 30-page order, Judge Dale E. Ho rebuffed arguments by Mr. Adams' lawyers that the prosecution's case fell short of meeting the federal definition of bribery, which prosecutors said had occurred when Adams accepted luxury travel from the Turkish government in exchange for pressuring fire department officials to sign off on the opening of a high-rise consulate building in Manhattan. In arguing that the bribery count, one of 5 Mr. Adams faces, be dismissed, his lawyers had pointed to a recent U.S. Supreme Court rulings that raised the bar for prosecutors to bring corruption cases. Judge Ho, in his decision, acknowledged that the application of the law had evolved, but found that the indictment was sufficient. He said that Mr. Adams' lawyers had raised genuine questions about whether too much time had passed between the benefits Mr. Adams was accused of receiving and the actions he was accused of taking in return. But he said such questions should be resolved at trial, where the Supreme Court rulings could still pose a significant challenge for the government's case. So, Scott, here's the deal. He's complaining that, oh, I got targeted because I was speaking out about migrants being sent to New York City by Republicans, and they're targeting me. Yeah. Bro, come on. Okay, so here's the whole deal. Okay, I saw New York Mayor Eric Adams at the DNC convention in Chicago. If Democrats were so angry with you, they would have rescinded his invitation. Why was he there? He would have been there. See, I get it. You get indicted and you want to blame somebody. But here you have a federal judge like, no, stuff is holding up. So, I mean, I get it. Lawyers try to do whatever they can to get their clients off. Mm-hmm. But this whole whining and complaining that, oh, Democrats are targeting me, he's sounding just like Donald Trump. I got targeted by Democrats. They weaponized the Department of Justice. He's using the Trump playbook.
Yeah, and, the indictment, I have big concerns as a white-collar criminal defense lawyer about the indictment. And what Ho said is, the closer we get to trial, this evolving law and whether he committed an official act in return for a benefit is an ongoing issue that's going to be revisited. The whining part, you got to remember, Eric Adams is a former registered Republican, right? And
I said that.
Also,
yep.
As a Democrat elected mayor of New York City, he initially started and wanted to work with the administration to get more money, not to get rid of the immigrants, right? On that move that Southern Florida and Texas bust these immigrants up to the sanctuary city of New York, he sought more money. He got some federal funding. He did not get enough, and then it became a political liability, even with the funding that it received, because the immigrants just kept coming, if you will. And so he's been all over the place on this issue, but his adversarial relationship with the feds wasn't always adversarial. He's created this adversarial relationship based on his public comments now, especially since he was indicted, because that's all he can lean on. Well, why am I being indicted? I'm not going to take ownership and responsibility for alleged bad acts. No, I've got to be targeted. That's the political message. The criminal defense message is that the indictment is flawed because of they can't prove conspiracy. He might win on the latter, but the former is just political noise and communication noise. That's not going anywhere, because in the end, the case is going to get tried or he's going to plead. But watch this, Roland. He's up for re-election. Michael Blake and others are running against him. I think the election is next year. It'll be interesting to see whether he runs as a Republican or an independent, or whether he stays a Democrat and runs in the primary with several challengers declared already.
Absolutely, but the whining. I mean, listen, Julian. It's a Trump playbook, pure and simple. Absolutely, and it's unworthy. It's unworthy of him, frankly. He's been a strong mayor, a strong rhetorician. Now suddenly he's turned into a wuss. They picking on me. Oh, they picking on me. No, they're not picking on you, dude. They have some evidence. Now, I don't know how strong the evidence is, frankly. And I think the point that Scott made earlier about the sequencing, they gave him some goodies before he was mayor, and they wanted goodies when he became mayor. Is that a quid pro quo, or is that a relationship? And it's illegal. And those are the things, as Judge Ho said, that will be decided at trial. I think that Adams does not want a trial. I think he's shopping for a pardon, probably shopping because he is, obviously his stock has gone all the way down in New York. He's probably shopping for a position in the Trump administration, since he keeps saying he might go back to being a Republican. Well, go on with your bad stuff. We don't care. But again, Trump has a black people problem. The best he could come up with was Herschel Walker, as we talked about in the last segment. So, hey, Herschel Walker, Eric Adams, and then I guess what's her name has left him, Omarosa. So there's somebody, Candace Owens. He can make her his press secretary. Eric Adams is, I'm just pretty disgusted with him because I think that he's not playing it. Frankly, I don't want to use a gender metaphor, but he's not playing it like a man. He's playing like a wuss. Listen, I don't get it. But hey, listen, I guess you'll do whatever you can to try to position yourself for a pardon, so you potentially don't go to jail on these bribery charges. All right, quick break, and we'll be right back on Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
What's up, y'all? Look, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering a unique opportunity for everyday people to invest in Black-owned tech, infrastructure, and help shape the future of social media. Investing in technology is essential for creating long-term wealth and influence in the digital age. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it.
Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shutdown.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate Black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
This is Tamala Mann.
And this is David Mann. And you're watching Roland Martin
Unfiltered.
All right, the DOJ announced that Ryan Phillips, a former sergeant with the Daleville Police Department in Alabama, will serve 16 months in prison for a civil rights violation. The assault took place on March 1st, 2022. The former Alabama police sergeant was sentenced to over a year in federal prison with nearly 2 years of supervised release after pleading guilty in August to beating a man in a jail cell. Phillips confirmed that he entered the cell and struck the man, quote, multiple times about the chest, back, and face. The man was alone in the cell and was not a danger to himself or to others. Now, of course, this is sort of important because guess what? You ain't gonna see many of these happen over the next 4 years because Donald Trump's DOJ, frankly, will allow cops to do whatever the hell they want. Speaking of whatever the hell they want, the House Ethics Committee secretly voted to release its report on former Congressman Matt Gaetz. The report is expected to be made public before the end of the year and possibly as early as the end of the week. The House Ethics Committee had investigated Gaetz for several years over allegations of sexual misconduct and illegal drug use. He repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. A separate Justice Department investigation into sex trafficking allegations against him concluded last year without any charges brought against him. Now, he posted a message on Twitter, Julian, where he was like, I was investigated, I was cleared, nothing actually happened. Yes, when I was single, I did some wild stuff. I did some freaky stuff. He didn't really say freaky, but that's basically what he said. And he's like, this is just unfair. Well, guess what? You played with fire, now your ass getting burned, Matt. And guess what? It's a lot of Republicans, they want to see his ass crispy, Julian. They want him burnt.
Well, you know, he was notoriously poor at collegial relations with his fellow Republicans, so nobody has his back. Everybody's like, bye, boo, just go. And he can whine all he wants. He can put all the messages on Twitter or X or whatever as he wants. The fact is that he had sex with an underage girl. He was a member of Congress, and he had sex with an underage girl. That's illegal, in addition to being immoral and a bunch of other stuff, too. I mean, he's accused of trafficking because he's moving these children. A 17-year-old girl may look like a grown woman, but she's a child. And he basically is trafficking these children. You can, just like Eric Adams, you can run your mouth all you want to, but as Dr. Meyer used to always say, truth is a stubborn fact and a lie will die. Well, the stubborn fact about Matt Gaetz is that he has no integrity, that he is a freak, Not only is he a freak, there's nothing wrong with being a freak, but if you're an illegal freak, I mean, find some grown women to freak on. But they probably wouldn't put up with your monkey behind. So there you're stuck with teenagers, and now your chickens have come home to roost, and they're roosting right inside that report. I hope that it becomes a New York Times cover story so that we can all be basically doom it of this man, because his behavior in so many ways has just been unacceptable. And as no Republicans want to be his friend. You have you seen one Republican, even Miss Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is about only a half a step up from him in the scumbag category, but even Miss Greene has not said anything to defend him.
Oh no, but she said if they release this, they should release everything, including every single report I filed against all the members of Congress for sexual harassment, everything else. I say, Scott, bring that shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, it'll be interesting. This report that's going to be released, one of the reasons it's going to be, there's such a delay, is because what they're going to do is go through that report page by page, line by line. And if there's anything that needs to be redacted vis-a-vis national security, but I'm not sure what national security issues there would be, or they want to protect the privacy of these individuals, especially the ones that were underage at the time of the event. So you got to go through that. But the reality is the good stuff, the juicy stuff, and it's all got to have a lot of juice to it, is going to be out there. Remember, he's contemplating the serious Republican nomination or run for the governor of Florida. And so one of the reasons he didn't want to release, because he doesn't want to impact that run in 2 years in Florida. We'll see how much impact this report has on his ability to run, or whether Trump still supports him no matter what. So we'll see.
Well, there you go. All right, folks. We'll certainly see what happens. We appreciate both of you joining us. Scott, Julian, thank you so very much. Enjoy the holidays. Not sure what you're doing, but have loads of fun. Thanks a bunch. Folks, that is it for us. Don't forget, support the work that we do. We want you to do one thing. Download our Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at bookstores nationwide. Get the audio version on Audible. And, of course, be sure to get your Roland Martin Unfiltered merchandise. Get your shirt, FAFO 2025. And don't blame me. I voted for the black woman shirts. You can go to blackstarnetwork.com, RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, or go to RolandMartin.creator-spring.com. Folks, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. Holla! Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?